Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Darren Gilry, Technical Solutions Specialist here at SSI. I have over 30 years of experience in the shipbuilding industry. For the past decade, I've worked closely with SSI's clients to deliver tailored technical solutions and best practices using SSI's digital shipbuilding tools. We're excited to share this session with you today, not just as software providers, but as longtime partners in the shipbuilding industry. Everything that we're going to talk about today comes from our experience working closely with shipyards, design teams, and government programs across the U.S. and beyond. So I want to welcome everybody to the webinar. So let's dive into what it really takes to break into the U.S. shipbuilding market. So if you're not familiar with SSI, here's a quick intro. We've been in the shipbuilding software space for over 35 years. Our platform, ShipConstructor and Shipbuilding PLM, is used by more than 600 clients around the world. What makes us different is that we're laser focused on shipbuilding. We're not trying to be everything to everyone. We're here to help shipbuilders work more efficiently and collaborate better and embrace digital transformation in a way that actually works for this industry. We're also part of the Shipbuilding Digitalization Network, which means we're helping shape where the industry's headed, not just reacting to it. And we also allow businesses to partner with SSI in our own SDN or ShipConstructor or SSI Developer Network, which fosters collaboration with our tool set of product and services. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the regulatory and security challenges that come with entering the U.S. market, how to handle collaboration and data sharing, what standards you'll need to meet, and most importantly, how right technology can help you overcome those hurdles and succeed. So let's start with the big picture. The U.S. shipbuilding industry is worth over $39 billion this year, and the Navy, they're planning to invest $40 billion a year for the next 30 years to increase the fleet to 381 ships. That's massive opportunity. And with the proposed Office of Shipbuilding, we're seeing real momentum from the government to revitalize the domestic industry. From our perspective, this feels like a turning point, a potential golden age for U.S. shipbuilding. But it's not automatic. It's going to take the right tools, the right partners, and a deep understanding of how this market works. Trends and insights here for that information. There's two trends you really need to know. First, the defense spending is up, and that's driving a lot of growth, especially in advanced vessels, autonomous and things of that nature. Second, the industry is closely tied to government contracts, and that means when budgets shift, so does the market. So if you're thinking about entering, you need to be ready to work within that framework. Now, if you're an international shipbuilder, this is where things get interesting. There's room for new players, but you'll need to play by U.S. rules. That means aligning with standards like NAVSEA, ITAR. A lot of successful companies do this by setting up U.S.-based subsidiaries or partnering with local firms. It's not just about compliance. It's about showing that you're serious about being part of the U.S. ecosystem. And when it comes to data sharing and collaboration, you'll need secure compliance systems in place from day one. So why you enter the U.S. market? Why go through all that effort? Because the opportunity is real. The U.S. needs more ships than it can currently build. There's a gap between production capacity and strategic goals, and that's where you can come in. Plus, initiatives like the Office of Shipbuilding are designed to bring in innovation and investment. If you've got the right capabilities, there's a place for you in the market. So let's talk about the biggest hurdles, right? The biggest hurdles being compliance. If you're coming from outside the US, you'll quickly run into ITAR, International Traffic in Arms Regulations. It's a mouthful, but what it really means is that the defense related data can't be shared with foreign nationals without strict controls. There's also NAVSEA. These are the US Navy's technical standards, and they cover everything from how you weld to how you document your work. It's detailed, it's rigorous, and it's non-negotiable when it comes to US shipbuilding. And on top of that, you've got to protect your own intellectual property while providing that you're compliant. It's a lot to manage, but it's also manageable within the right systems and with the right systems and tools in place. Now, the good news of that is if you're already working under international standards like IMO, IACS, or SOLAS, you're not starting from scratch. There's a lot of overlap between global and US standards. For example, both systems rely on port state control. Safety management is governed by the ISM code in both cases, ISM code in both cases. But there's differences too. The US Coast Guard and NAVSEA play a much more hands-on role. You'll also need to navigate environmental rules from the EPA and meet expectations around ABS or the American Bureau of Shipping standards. So yes, there's a learning curve, but it's not a leap into the unknown. It's more about adapting what you already know that fits the US framework. And another challenge is data sharing, right? One of the biggest pain points we see is around that data sharing. So you've got teams that need access to models or drawings or technical data, but that data is tightly controlled. This is where a lot of international firms get stuck. They're cut off during the most critical phase, and that would be in the collaborative design and engineering portion of that. That's why we built our platform at SSI to support secure, compliant collaboration, so you can keep moving forward without compromising your security. So to answer some of those questions about that is we look at some case studies that have happened in the past with international firms. So let's start with Alstom USA. They've been a great example of how an international firm can succeed in the US market by embracing the digital shipbuilding model. Also uses ShipConstructor hull module, which is just one of the tool sets of ShipConstructor's tool set and SSI's tool sets, to streamline hull plate forming for Navy programs. That's a big deal. It means they're reducing their waste, improving accuracy, and speeding up their production. They've also integrated a tool called Express Marine, which also teams up with SSI's hull module and ShipConstructor to enhance their structural design workflows. And now they're rolling out our tool, Shipbuilding PLM, to unify engineering and production data across the board. And what's really exciting is how they're evolving into a fully digital shipyard. That's not just good for Alstom, but it's good for the Navy too. More visibility at the yard for what they're doing. Another case study in an international firm breaking into the US market is Bird On USA. That's just another international player that was based in Australia originally, but they've made a strong footprint here in the US. Bird On is supporting the US Coast Guard's Waterways Commerce Cutter program using ShipConstructor. And that means they're delivering vessels that are not only technically sound, but also digitally integrated from design through production. They're also part of a major NSRP project focused on defining PLM data standards for the United States Coast Guard. That's a big step towards the lifecycle integration, and it shows how Bird On is helping shape the future of digital shipbuilding in the US. And if you're not familiar with what NSRP is, that's the National Shipbuilding Research Project. So what's the solutions, right? So SSI's solution, how do we help shipbuilders succeed in this environment? At SSI, we've built our platform specifically for the shipbuilding industry. ShipConstructor is the go-to tool for 3D modeling and production detailing. It's widely used across U.S. Navy and Coast Guard programs. It's not just powerful, it's familiar to the people already working in the field. Then there's our shipbuilding PLM tool. It's built on the Aris Innovator platform and gives you a single source of truth for your engineering data. That means better change management, better traceability, and a solid foundation for digital twin innovation. And we're not just handling your software and walking away. We work with over 30 universities, making sure that there's a trained workforce ready to support your projects. And that's a big part of what makes this ecosystem work. So let's talk about support for naval programs. And it's kind of the history of what SI has and has an impact in the market for, right? So let's talk about where this technology is already, like I said, making an impact. Our tools have been used in the design and construction of some of the most important vessels in the United States fleet. And we're talking about Arleigh Burke class destroyers, littoral combat ships, America class amphibious assault ships, fast response cutters, and even sport vessels like berthing barges and expeditionary craft. These aren't just the one-off projects that somebody would pick up. They're part of long-term high compliance programs where digital consistency and lifecycle traceability really matter. And our platform has proven itself again and again in those environments. And what's really good is our commitment to secure, controlled collaboration. So security is baked into everything that we do. Our platform supports role-based access, and it allows you to fine-grain permissions and be ITAR compliant within your workflows. That means you can collaborate across teams and partner without worrying about compliance risks. This builds trust, right? So building trust in the US is something that you would have to do as well. So trust is everything in this market. To build it, you need to show that you're committed, and that might mean partnering with a US-based subcontractor, working with local design firms, or setting up a US presence. It's not just about checking boxes, it's about showing that you're here to stay. That goes a long way within US shipbuilding. So why SSI? You know, we're talking about SSI, so why SSI? We're already embedded in US shipbuilding. Our tools align with NAVSEA, ITAR, and NSRP standards, and we bridge that gap between global innovation and US compliance. We've built a pipeline of trusted users through our university partnerships, so you're not starting from zero. And as you can see from this slide, we have support for major naval programs. So let's take a look at where SSI's technology is already making that difference. Our software has been used in the design and construction of some of the most critical vessels in the US and Navy and Coast Guard fleets. Those amphibious assault ships that we talked before, the Arleigh Burke class destroyers, and those littoral combat ships and more. And it's not just limited to the U.S. defense projects. It's also used around the world, reinforcing SSI's global reputation. 750 plus naval projects and defense projects across the world. Pretty good track record. So what's some technical barriers and materials and measurements, right? So let's talk about some of the technical curveballs you might face trying to break into the market. First up, of course, is U.S. materials. U.S. shipbuilding often leans heavily on domestic sourcing. That means you'll need to understand what's available locally, how to buy American preferences, how to work, and what your options are if certain materials are not accessible. Then there's the measurement system. The U.S., to its credit, we're kind of pig-headed, and we use the imperial units, not metric. That might sound like a small thing, but it affects everything from design to procurement and production. But the good news is that SSI's tools are built to help you convert and verify data so you can stay consistent and avoid costly mistakes. And the other thing is NAVSEA standards, okay? So let's zoom in on NAVSEA. These standards are the backbone of the U.S. Navy shipbuilding. They cover everything from technical documentation to quality control to design and review processes. Even if you're building commercial vessels, NAVSEA often sets the tone, right? So even commercial vessels tend to lean on that standard. So aligning with those standards isn't just a checkbox, it's a competitive advantage. And our platform supports NAVSEA compliant workflows out of the box. So you're not reinventing the wheel, you're building on a foundation that's already trusted and proven. And with that, the track record matters for that. So SSI's track record and our legacy, it's not theory. We've been doing this for a long time. So SSI has partnered with some of the biggest names in high compliance shipbuilding like Ingalls Shipbuilding and other Navy, US Navy contractors. We've helped them deliver mission critical vessels aligned with Navy PLM systems and pass third-party audits for data integrity and lifecycle traceability. We've also delivered certified training and consulting to help shipyards mature digitally and meet evolving Navy requirements. So when we say that this space, we really mean it. We understand it, right? We understand this space. So what's the final thoughts on this? I know I've run through this pretty quickly, but our final thoughts and the next steps in this space is the future of shipbuilding is moving digital. It's from model-based systems engineering on to full digital thread integration. And that means your design, production, sustainment data must connect seamlessly across vessels' life cycles. Our tools are built to support that transformation, managing configuration control, enabling digital twins, and integrating with Navy systems so shipyards can stay ahead of the curve. So breaking into the US market isn't easy, but it's absolutely achievable. And with the right tools, the right partners, and a clear strategy, success is within reach, and we'd love to help you explore that and what that could look like, whether it's a tech assessment with the SSI team, a pilot project, or just a conversation with us. We'd love to have that with you, right? And we would definitely thank you guys for signing this webinar and spending your time with us today. And as we close, I want to leave you with this thought. The future of shipbuilding is being shaped by those who are ready to adapt and innovate and collaborate. Whether you're navigating compliance or scaling your operations or entering these new markets, the choices that you make will shape your success ahead. And at SSI, we're more than software provider. We're a partner with deep industry roots and real world experience. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can feel free to reach out to me directly at my email address that you see on the screen, or visit our website. And then what we can do is we can open the floor up right now for any questions. We are live, so I know that it seemed like I flew through that information, but if you guys have some questions for us, we can shoot them at us, and we'll pay attention to that. And if there is questions that maybe you didn't come up right away during the webinar here, or if you didn't have any questions that you wanted to put into the chat, you can definitely reach out to me, and I will get back to you through email. That's great.
Darren, while we wait for some questions, I thought I might shoot one your way that that some people might be having in the background. What are some ways that organizations from outside of the US can participate in the industry? What are some examples of that?
Yeah, so one of the great examples, I know I mentioned during the webinar that we participate in what's called NSRP. NSRP is a National Shipbuilding Research Program, and it is a program funded by the US Navy, and every year it fosters innovation in research and development in the shipbuilding space. And what's really cool about it is that the partner shipyards that participate in NSRP are typically Navy builders, and they are always looking for innovation and commitment from their partners to innovate how shipbuilding is done. And if you have a concept or design tools that that could help innovate those things, if you go to nsrp.org, they're always looking for project ideas, and partnering with those shipyards through NSRP is probably the easiest way to do that. NSRP is been around for years and years, and it fosters that innovation, right? So one of the questions that we had from the group is, can you please share today's presentation deck with the attendees? And yes, the presentation will be made available. I saw that come through as well. Any other questions from the live chat? But I'll reiterate again that the NSRP is probably the easiest way for foreign companies trying to break into the U.S. market, or even domestic companies that may not know how to get into the shipbuilding market and want to partner with things. I would be remiss to not foster that over and over again, that the U.S. shipbuilding is looking to branch out and looking to partner with not only domestic but foreign companies to make innovation and technology available to those shipbuilders and make their jobs easier. Like it said kind of in the webinar on the early phase, the U.S. shipbuilding market, there is going to be high demand, right? There's high demand for putting ships out and increasing the Navy's capacity of ships, and any little bit of help that they get, they will be glad to use. Awesome. We'll let it go another couple of minutes, see if anybody else has any questions. Greg, did you notice anything else in there that you possibly had a question for or needed to touch base on again?
One thing that came to mind is there's two kind of sides to the trends that we're seeing, right? There's the increased demand for shipbuilding that the U.S. needs to build up its fleet, and commercial shipbuilding as well. But there's also the repair and kind of MRO side of the business. Can you speak correct to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So on the MRO side, there is so many ships that are in operation that are still functional ships that fall under that repair and overhaul portion, right? Of the MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul MRO space. The MRO space could be a huge benefit to outside entities that wanted to break into the shipbuilding market. Just if you have space or capacity, if you're a small shipyard, maybe you want to break into that market, that would be another avenue for breaking into the market, because the repair side of things, supply chains being disrupted have they been in the last 5 to 10 years, just loss in the workforce, the space. Shipbuilders are always looking for space, slots for openings, right? New ship builds are a little kind of the pearls, the hidden pearls out there for people breaking into the new market. But the MRO space, maintenance, repair, and overhaul space is going to be a huge issue in the coming years, just because ships are on that life cycle portion of their operational space where they need to move into that. Or maybe it's in the case of the U.S. Coast Guard, once a ship gets to a certain point in its life cycle, they're kind of cycling it out, and they'll take everything that matters to the Coast Guard off of the vessel, and then put it on the open market for the world to see. And that being able to do that in smaller spaces or smaller maintenance areas would be a huge avenue for small shipyards to break into the market. Okay. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for participating in this. And like I said, you have our contact information up on the screen, and visit our website. And if things come to mind once this webinar ends, please reach out to me, and the team at SSI will get back to you. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Oh, let's not let one that slip through the cracks. I do see one more question come through. It says, do you foresee that based on current wars going on, the need for smaller autonomous vessels will surpass the more traditional ships in the U.S. market? That's a great question. I guess it depends specifically on mission capabilities and requirements. But being that there is, you get into a space where a conflict is going on, you don't want to put skilled labor in place, and an autonomous vehicle would be very agile in that space, or very needed in that space. And just speaking from experience in the market, listening to folks in different trade shows and conventions, that's kind of where the space is going as well. Autonomous vehicles, machine learning, AI, it's all going to be part of that package. So Tom Crowley asked, the question is, SSI software selected by the yard or by the owner operator? That is something that I would suggest you put either in a contract. If you're the yard themselves, you may ask the owner operator, hey, do you mind if we do it in ShipConstructor? And the owner operator themselves may request it. I know that the U.S. Navy, when they're contracting, if they're doing things at Huntington Ingalls in Pascagoula, everything they do is in ShipConstructor. Bollinger Shipyards is another case that comes to mind. That just about every product that they're putting out into production is done in ShipConstructor. So that could be a contractual tool, right? So being that we're in the market, we've kind of flooded the market with our tool set, and it could be something that I would suggest putting in the contract phase, where it's an ease of use tool. It's well known in the shipbuilding market, and that's something that you can have your clients as well as your subcontractors use the tool to collaborate better.
Tom had one more question there. Is SSI used across other government projects and the U.S. commercial market, ferries, transport, etc.?
Absolutely. So we're not just in the government space. Our commercial footprint is quite extensive as well. The Pacific Northwest is known for fishing vessels as well as ferries and things like that. So some of our clients up in that market area, as well as the Southeast as well, commercial areas. Norfolk is not just for Navy shipbuilding, it's also for commercial shipbuilding, ferries, offshore barges, things of that nature. At one time, I used to work at a small shipyard in South Louisiana. We used ShipConstructor for building casino vessels, as well as offshore supply vessels. So oil and gas is another market that ShipConstructor is vastly used in as well. Okay. All righty, Greg.
All right, I think we'll call it there. Thanks so much, Darren, for your time today and the insightful presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.